Hey everybody, I am super excited to share this video with you. So I am going to be using one stamp set and creating 5 different cards for you to give you guys an idea of all of the things that you can do with one stamp set and very minimal supplies. So I'm using some regular distress ink and a couple other things for my cards today. And of course, these aren't all of the cards that you can create just using one stamp set and very minimal supplies, but I decided just to do 5 for you guys today, and they are pretty simple. I do not have the coordinating die set, which I think a lot of people will appreciate because most people don't buy the coordinating die set. As I was creating these cards, I kind of wish that I did have the die set only because I really wanted to cut out the smile word to pop up on one of my cards. But either way, I hope that this gives you guys a few ideas to stretch your stamp sets and your supplies that you have. This video was a lot of fun to create. It also was a lot of work, but if you enjoy this type of video, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below letting me know what your favorite card that I created was and if you plan on doing something similar. All right, so I am going to start off with some regular cardstock, and to be honest, I don't remember the last time that I used regular distress ink to ink blend, but I love the vibrancy of the colors, and I purchased a ton of mini ink cubes quite a long time ago, and as you know, I destashed and I am also organizing my craft room, and I really want to use up all of my supplies that I have on hand. So I am occasionally breaking out things that I have bought over a period of time. Well, let's see, I've been crafting for 10 years, so if I have anything from 10 years ago, which I doubt it, but you guys know what I mean. I am breaking out things that I haven't used or used very often and putting them to use. So I am ink blending chipped sapphire, and let me get that other color. I think it's Seedless Preserves, and I'm using a makeup brush, which I absolutely love doing ink blending with when I do Distress Oxide inks. Like I said before, I have very minimal experience using regular distress inks for ink blending, so I do have a lot to learn, but it was pretty simple doing it with the makeup brush. All right, so you can see here that I am using the floral stamp in this stamp set. And the stamp set I'm using is from the Stamp Market. I absolutely love this company. They have some amazing stamps and dies. So I used some VersaMark ink, and first I added it's basically baby powder in this EK Success tool that I have kind of to the right there. And you could use any anti-static tool that you have, but the Distress ink stays wet for quite a long time. Even though it looks dry, it could still be wet in different areas. So that's why you need to add some sort of anti-static powder to this background. So I added some Ranger Superfine white embossing powder. It's my favorite white embossing powder. And then I melted that with my heat tool. And now I am stamping my sentiment. It says, "I'm so happy for you." I used the same Ranger Superfine white embossing powder, and then I used my heat tool to melt that embossing powder. Now I'm just using a paper towel to wipe off all of that powder from my background. All right, so I am using just some regular water and splattering it, or I spray it in my hand and then splatter it with my fingers, just kind of randomly dropping it onto the background here. That is going to give a nice fun distressed look, more of like a mixed media feel. If you are new to my channel, I do mostly mixed media projects, and I like to incorporate that a lot of times into my cards as well. So I picked up all of the excess water, and now I am taking my favorite white spray. I used to love the Picket Fence Distress Spray from Ranger, but now my favorite is the Dina Wakley White Gloss Spray for splatters. You guys, if you like white splatters on your projects, this is the one to get. I have sworn by picket fence for years, but I'm sorry, I have to change my mind now. The gloss spray from Dina Wakley is now my go-to. I definitely have to get more bottles because I am splattering everything more than I did before. All right, so I mounted that card panel onto just a regular card base, and that card is complete. All right, so moving on to my second card, I am doing a little bit of ink blending again, but I am just going to focus on the center of this card panel here. I'm using the same colors. I tried to switch it up a little bit, do a little bit of pink, but I don't really clean my brushes if I'm using dye inks. So it was a little bit more purple than I anticipated. So I just went back to the colors that I used before, which were again Seedless Preserves and Chipped Sapphire. And as you could see, I am concentrating more in the center of the card panel there. And I did get a little bit of ink on the top of my card panel, and I do the same thing on a different card panel as well. I pushed too hard on a stamp and I got a lot of excess ink on my card, and I will show you how I fix that as well. But for this one, I do cut it down. I cut that little ink spot off in the end. But now after the ink blending is done, I am going to take the Smile word and I am going to use VersaMark ink, and then I will use my Ranger Superfine White Embossing Powder. I like to stamp it twice when I am doing it on any sort of inked background or watercolor paper. I like to stamp it twice. That way I know for sure that I'm getting a lot of that ink onto the card base or the card panel. All right, so I am going to use some Ranger Superfine White Embossing Powder again. I absolutely love this stuff. And then I am going to heat it with my heat tool. And after I do that, I am going to add some splatters with the same colors that I used. Like I said before, I like to add more of like a mixed media feel to my cards sometimes. Sometimes I don't, but because these were pretty simple, I wanted them to be unique and a little bit more messy. All right, so I am adding some of the splatters in the Chipped Sapphire on the top, and then I'll go in on the bottom and add the, what was that color? I keep forgetting. It is Seedless Preserves on the bottom. So I have this cover or mat on my desk. It's actually a chair mat that I purchased on Amazon, and it saves my desk. And I absolutely love it because it's super easy to wipe up. And when I need to, I can scrub it down really well and get a lot more of that gunk up that is on my the desktop as well. All right, so I am adding some more splatters with the Dina Wakley Gloss Spray. And I didn't mention before, but as you can see, I use the stamp itself to mask off parts that I don't want the white on. I've never had any issues with the ink on the other, the opposite side of the stamp messing up my stamps or anything. But it just saves time because then you don't have to fussy cut something out or anything like that. So that's a little tip as well. All right, this next one took me way longer than it should have. I'm just doing some ink smushing, but I should have stopped while I was ahead, and I didn't, which is normal for me. I just kept going and going, and then I had to go even more because I didn't like it, and So this technique is nothing new. It's been done for lots of years, and it's a lot of fun, but I am doing it on some watercolor paper. And what you do is you take a piece of plastic, or I like to use sometimes a stamp block. Sorry, I can't think today. All right, and that way you can put some ink down, spray it with a little bit of water and smush the ink onto your surface. And in this case, again, I'm using some watercolor paper. I am using the same colors again, the chipped sapphire and Seedless preserves. I don't know why I always get those two mixed up. So as you could see, I had to keep going and adding more and more because I just couldn't stop myself. And then I almost started over, but I just kept at it, and then I ended up with something that I liked. And this is pretty simple to do. You just need a little bit of water and dye ink. You could do this with watercolors, sprays, all sorts of different mediums. But I wanted to keep the same supplies. That way, if you are new to card making and have minimal supplies, this will give you an idea of how you can stretch all of your supplies that you have, because it takes a long time and to build up your supply of crafty items. So yeah, I hope this helps in some way. All right, so I am again just still adding color. I trying to fix it at this point because I don't know what happened, but it was a lot of fun. It was relaxing. As you all know, the whole world is basically on lockdown or quarantine, social distancing. My kids are home and my husband works from home. He has for the last 8 years. So I needed a little bit of crafty time. And these cards were a lot of fun to create. All right, so after I got done doing my ink smushing, I'm going to add some splatters again with the same colors that I used to ink smush. So I did the chipped sapphire on top and then the Seedless preserves on the bottom. And those pretty much blend back into the color and the background in the end, but it just gives it a little bit more interest and a little bit more texture. And now I'm going to stamp my floral stamp from the, what was this called again? The Friendly Bunch stamp set from the Stamp Market. And I am trying to get a lot of ink on, or VersaMark ink onto my stamp. I did have a little bit of trouble with these stamps. I don't know if it's my stamp platform or what it is. It just wasn't wanting to stamp in the center. And so I really had to work hard. I put all of my weight, well, not all of my weight, but a lot of my weight onto the platform to get a really good impression there. And I did that probably 3 times. Normally I like to do it twice when I am using watercolor paper. But anyways, all right, so I heard this trick on a Facebook or in a Facebook group where you can heat the embossing powder from behind if you want it really smooth. And I never have tried that before until now. And I don't know why I have never heard of this before, because I've been stamping for 10 years and I absolutely love the look. It was so smooth. All right, so I added a sentiment, today is a good day, and that is going to complete that card. All right, moving on to, what card is this? I think the 4th card. I don't know, 3rd, 4th, 5th, I don't know what one we're on, but we are moving on to the next card. This one is pretty simple. So I am taking the floral stamp and using not a gradient effect, but just using 2 different colors just to give a different look to the stamp. And again, this is going to give you ways that you can use your stamp set without having to color them, because a lot of people don't really buy floral stamps because they don't like to color, or they don't think that they're good at it. But this will give you ideas that are different than just coloring the floral stamps. So I took the Seedless preserves on top and then the chipped sapphire on the bottom. And because these are dye inks, you don't really have to worry too much about mixing the colors on the ink pad. And I kind of just blended them a little bit together. And I stamp it twice on there. And now I'm going to just directly stamp the smile with some VersaFine Onyx black ink. This is my go-to black ink when I'm stamping out sentiments. It's very, very crisp and I absolutely love it. All right, that's just going to say smile. And I was really worried that I was going to mess it up, but this card, this technique or whatever you want to call it was super simple. So I wasn't too worried if I messed it up. I could do it again in just a matter of seconds. All right, so I stamped that twice just for good measure. And then we are going to add another sentiment here. It says today is a good day. And this card is probably my favorite, even though it's so simple. And I said in the beginning that I wished I had the die set so I could cut out that smile. And I probably would have used it to cut out the smile on this card. All right, I am going to mount this card panel onto some black cardstock, and then I put it on a card base. And that is going to complete this card. I have a picture here for you. All right, moving on to the last card. Again, this is super simple. This took just a little bit more time only because I had to continue to stamp and ink and stamp and ink. So I do speed this part up quite a bit. This is a longer video than normal, so if you are still with me and you haven't done so already, please give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to leave me a comment letting me know which card was your favorite or technique that I did. All right, so I am using the smile word, and I am going to do that same technique that I did with the floral stamp where I am using the two different colors. So I take the Seedless Preserves on the first portion of the word, and then the what was that color? Chipped Sapphire. I keep forgetting. All right, and then it kind of just creates a little bit, you know, something different. I am going to stamp the smile multiple times on this card panel. In the end, I do cut this quite a bit because I do end up with a lot of excess ink on one of where I had stamped the smile on the bottom. And I didn't want to do it over because it did take a little bit of time. So I decided just to work with what I had, and I cut it down and made it work. All right, so I am just going to continue to stamp this smile out. And this is where you're going to see where I added too much ink onto the stamp and it ended up getting where it wasn't supposed to. It was kind of frustrating, to be honest, but it's okay. I made it work. I am going to continue to ink and stamp my smile word onto the cardstock here. All right, so if you are still with me through this video, I want to invite you to the World of Heart event this Saturday, March 21st. It is the second annual World of Heart live stream event. And it is going to be a lot of fun. The lineup is amazing. If you haven't heard about it, I will have a link to the Facebook event down in the description box so you guys could check it out. This Saturday is going to be mostly card makers and a couple scrapbookers or one scrapbooker. And it is going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, lots of prizes, lots of inspiration, and let's face it, with everything going on in the world today, we kind of need a little distraction. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You could chat and hang out, get your supplies out, craft with us. I believe it is going to be 9 hours straight of live streams with some amazing creators. All right, so this is where I cut down my smile stamped panel because I did end up getting a little bit too much ink when I stamped one of the smiles out. So I was trying to fix it, and then I'm just going to stamp out I'm so happy for you 3 times, and then I cut that down as well. I am adding the I'm so happy for you sentiment to some black cardstock to make it stand out a little bit more, and I'm doing the same to the smile stamped panel here too. And this is an ATG gun. I used to use this for scrapbooking. I don't really anymore. I use Fabri-Tac for my scrapbooking, but I like to use this for my card making. It holds a ton of tape runner in there, and I've had it. I think it was one of the first things that I ended up purchasing, like bigger things, because it's a little pricey, um, and I absolutely love it. All right, so I am going to mount that smile, I don't even know what to call it, card panel, I don't know, onto my card base. And then I'm going to add the sentiment there. It says, I'm so happy for you. And I was trying to figure out where to put it. And then I put it down kind of towards the bottom. And that is going to complete that card. Here is a look at that card. I'm going to show you all of the cards here at the end. I hope you enjoyed, and again, if you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Also share it with your friends on social media. You can pin it to Pinterest, take a screenshot, share it on Instagram, however you want to share this video. I would love for you to do so. And also leave me a comment down below letting me know what your favorite card was or the technique that I used. I would really appreciate it, and I love reading your comments. If you are new to my channel, I hope you subscribe and be sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time that I upload a video. And as always, the supplies are listed in the description box down below. Here's a couple more videos you might enjoy. Also find me on all of my other social media platforms. I would love to connect with you over there. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. I'll catch you later.